Rogan Report podcast. Check it out.
All things Joe Rogan by day. Rogan Report podcast by night. All day. All night. A half hour to an hour-ish episodes once a week.
The Rogan Report podcast.
All right, Shane, welcome to the basement. Good to see you, friend.
Yeah, man. It's been good to be back.
Yeah, this is Rogan Report 53, and we're going to go through all the table of contents here. We're going to a lot of things to talk about today, some news. Of course, we'll get some summer updates on what's been going on in our lives. There's some celebrities getting canceled, and rightly so, if it's true what's being accused.
It's true.
Which has yet to come out, but we'll see. Some bad news for in the Rogan universe. COVID, of course, huge in the States right now. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Florida had its biggest day ever, 9,000 new cases today, or maybe it was yesterday.
Pretty considerable.
Yeah, this is like, and the Texas too. All the hospitals are getting overwhelmed in Texas.
Yeah,
talk about that. And there was a student, an Asian student, was stomped by a police officer in Kelowna. So we'll get the details on that. And marathon runner Corey Capelloni ran 218 miles, 300 plus kilometers here in Canada to get to his grandma's house. And that was just a nice little bit of feel-good news that I thought we needed, considering the heaviness of the rest of our topics.
Okay.
Plus watches. I'm getting super into watches these days, and I bought 2 new ones, so maybe we'll update the state of the collection here.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. Watches are fun. I was super into them when I was a kid, and then I got smartphones, and I was like, always had a phone on me, and I was like, I don't need a watch. The watches are stupid. And then, so I kind of got out of it for a little while, but just in the last year, I've been sort of getting back into it, and it's cool. I love the mechanics of how they use a spring that gets wound up to move many, many, many gears to be a precise timekeeping.
That's right. And you know what? It's still easier to look at your wrist than it is to pull your phone out.
It's true. And, especially if you're at work, you kind of look like a douche if you're pulling your phone out all the time.
You keep that bitch in your pocket at work.
That's right. Like a fucking man.
Yeah.
Is that sexist? Like a professional, man or woman.
Oh, but that has been always like a masculine thing too, right? Like watches.
Yeah.
A nice watch.
A little bit, yeah.
A bit of respect commands from that thing,
Like women get a ring, and men often get a watch for engagements.
Yeah, you're right. I've been not having a watch for a long time, since phones.
Ah, yeah. That's what did it for me. I remember when I was in high school, and I was like super into watches but didn't have any money. So I had like a couple different replica watches that I was just like, oh, it's so cool. I wish it was real.
Yeah, I definitely had a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a Boy London watch, which is not a replica. It was a real, but it's like a fashion watch. You know what watches get really, really shit on in the watch community?
What's that?
Movement watches. Sponsor.
Do they get shit on?
They really do.
Because they get sponsored by Joe Rogan.
I know.
And shit.
Yeah, the great marketing from them. But ultimately by the actual watch people, they're like, no, those watches are shit. And there's a couple different kind of watch of the month groups where you pay $100 a month and you get a watch every month, and it's always like a $300 to $500 watch, they say. But apparently those watches are all shit as well.
Now, forgive my cynical side, but
sure,
isn't that exactly what these guys would be saying?
I mean, maybe. Yeah.
Considering.
Yeah. But there is, when you look at the craftsmanship, if you look at a nice Omega or a Patek Philippe or a Rolex, to be the most popular of the bunch, you can see the differences in the watch. Now, does the difference in finishing and complexity of a Patek Philippe make it worth $60,000? No. We make it worth $60,000 by that's what people are willing to pay for it, for that extra cut above what you'd get with a normal Rolex. Is a Rolex worth $20,000? No, you're willing to pay for that because it's the cut above what you get from, maybe Omega or some of the, kind of mid-luxury brands, Tag Heuer, Heuer, sorry, if you're a real watch snob.
Oh, Tag. I was going to bring up Tag actually because that was one of the ones I remember from being like a
I love
like an
Tag.
older teen.
Tag gets kind of shit on a little bit as well, and my girlfriend's manager of a jewelry store, and she says that the tag customers are the worst. They're like all like super douchey. They come in with their like $2,000. Yeah, they have like $2,000 watches, and they act like they're $100,000 watches, and they want free servicing, and they want like everything has to be done before any other customers can be helped, and they're just like real entitled.
Oh wow.
Yeah, apparently. Now, obviously, this is not all. I like Tag, and especially I like Tag because they sponsor a lot of things I'm into. Like they sponsor golf and freestyle skiing, and you know, like that's one of the cool things about good like Rolex too and Omega. Those, I think Omega might be my favorite. The watch I really really want that's at the top of my watch bucket list. We call them grails in the community, like your grail watch.
Yeah.
The one at the top of me is called the Speedmaster Professional from Omega, and it is the first watch to go to the moon.
That's pretty slick.
First watch to be worn out on the moon on a moonwalk.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, that watch, $5,000 ish for like the legit one, so not like really super exorbitant. Like, no way I could ever possibly own it.
Yeah.
And you can see them even used, you know, in worser condition for $3,000, $4,000.
Wow.
And then they make a whole bunch of different. So there's the like legit Speedmaster Professional, and then they also make a whole bunch of like kind of special edition Speedmasters. There's a bunch of Olympic ones and a bunch of like, they call them the reduced. They're slightly smaller and they're automatic. The legit professional one is just manual wind only. No,
That's kind of sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it is kind of sweet.
So what do you got to adjust it? Like how often? With one of those manuals?
Well, they all have different power. It's called the power reserve. Some of them are like 48 hours is common, 72 hours is common, and you know it kind of differs depending on. The second hand will move, and it'll be like 28,000 beats per hour, or like 36,000. The more beats per hour that you have, the like smoother the second hand looks as it winds around. Like they don't beat like once every second the way a quartz watch does. Quartz watch is like, you know, electric with a battery. All the like mechanical watches, they all will have, you know, X amount of beats per hour, and the higher the beats, the less power reserve you tend to get.
Wow.
But the smoother the second hand goes, and having a really, really smooth second hand is like a thing to behold. Seiko makes one called the Spring Drive movement, and Spring Drive uses kind of a combination. It cheats a little bit. Like it is manual, automatic wound. Automatics there's like a weight inside, and as you walk, the weight spins around into the watch just from the swinging of your arms.
Oh, wow.
And that's what winds the watch.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll show you. I got a couple automatics here, and
pretty
I'll
dope.
show you after the podcast. But yeah, so that weight winds the spring. Now for this Spring Drive, the weight actually charges up a battery in the watch, and it has the absolute smoothest second hand. It's just like pure gold moving around the watch face.
So is this like the finest when it comes to gears and small things moving? Like, what else is there like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in computers, I guess there's some pretty
but it's
small.
not even really
gears,
mechanical
though.
gears in
it's
there.
like chips and stuff. I don't really understand how computers move information around. Like
Really, even electricity at all?
Yeah. How is there tiny gears inside this chip? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, like as far as gears going together, I don't know what the tiniest machines are. But it's fascinating. Like, I've watched a shit ton of YouTube videos since I got back into it, on like reviews and watches and just like stuff on the history of watches. There's this watch that I absolutely love. It's again one of my top grail watches. It's made by a company called Zenith, and it's called the El Primero. And so Zenith, big watch company, and when they almost went out of business, I think it was like the 60s maybe, or the 70s, and they're working on this movement called the El Primero, and it's a chronograph, an automatic chronograph. Chronograph is like a stopwatch essentially, and so they're coming up with this movement, but they're like going out of business trying to do it, and they're being shut down by like, I don't know, the whatever the Switzerland equivalent of the CRA would be, I suppose. And they're being shut down. And this one watchmaker designer, that's been working on it, he takes the plans and all of the gears that he's been using and all the parts he's been manufacturing and hides them up in the attic. And they actually get shut down. And then Rolex goes to them, and Rolex is like, hey, we're looking for a movement we heard you've been working on. And they're like, okay, well, we'll make you a deal. We'll give you this El Primero movement in exchange for you bringing us back out of out of bankruptcy and like making us a company again and bringing back all of our designers and all of our people to work in our business. And Rolex says, yeah, okay, that's an awesome movement. We're totally down. Let's make the deal. And they bring Zenith back out of being totally wiped away and gone. And then that's the movement they used in their Daytona watch. And like the Rolex Daytona, in my opinion, is like the absolute best Rolex that has ever been made. And it's the like classic kind of sports one with the 3 little subdials chronograph. And like a lot of those ones from like the 80s like are going for $100,000 or more.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. They're crazy. They're not, I mean, they're new. The retail price on them was like 15,000 or 20,000 or 25,000. It kind of depends on the metals. Like a lot of them are like super precious, silvers and golds. And what's that metal that's super even, it's like silver, but it's not.
Oh, platinum?
Platinum. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The like platinum Rolex is like 60 grand or something like that. But it's, in my opinion, that's the best Rolex ever made. So gorgeous, so
what
pretty.
if you had a watch like that though? Where would you ever wear it?
I don't know.
Like, I would be afraid to leave it, the house with it. It's more
Yeah.
expensive than anything else I have.
Super nerve wracking, right? Yeah, I can't really imagine myself in those situations either. It's certainly like
You almost have to have all the other accoutrements that come with a guy that has a watch like that.
yeah,
You should have concierge service. You should have like 6 houses.
yeah. I've heard the rule that like your car should be worth 10% of your house, and your watch should be worth 10% of your car.
Oh, that's a good rule.
Yeah. So a $300,000 house, you got a $30,000 car and a $3,000 watch.
I never go by rules anyway. I get what I want anyway.
I know. I'm in these like Facebook groups with all these people, and I'm constantly wondering, like, okay, do you have all these fancy watches? Do you own your house, or are you like buying these watches and paying rent in an apartment? Because that, like, to me, that seems like probably not the best move.
Not the best move, but in the long term, it really is the best move.
Well, they might.
Because you don't own anything. You don't get to stay here.
It's true. Yeah,
Everything goes to somebody else,
it's true.
ultimately.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe
but
it is better
also
to just,
owning
if you're
stuff's
super
pretty
into it.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the mortgage on my house is really kind of less than what I would have to pay for rent. But by the time I factor in the taxes and the bills, I don't know. It's
Mhm.
probably close.
And if something goes wrong,
Yeah.
obviously. Right?
But I'm building equity, and that by the time I'm
That's true.
retiring, I've got like $400,000 worth of house that I can like leverage. To,
no, that's definitely
retire
true.
with.
And some people really come out ahead on houses. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
right now, it's probably an awful time to sell your house, but
Yeah.
once
not-
we bounce back, it's probably a good time. So, especially if you invested now.
there's just so much uncertainty in how and if we're gonna bounce back, and a lot of things aren't. Like there's restaurants shutting down like crazy in, some of the people I know work. There's a restaurant called Moxie's. I'm sure you're familiar with the chain.
Mm-hmm.
Moxie's shut down forever and done for
Did
good.
they? Seriously?
Yeah,
They had deadly mushroom cabs.
they did. They had a lot of really good food. I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, my family used to go and eat there quite a bit. They were always like they had this back section. It was really quiet. Out of all the mall like sit down restaurants.
Are you talking about the Moxie's in West Ed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go in that back section. Me
Yeah.
and Stacy ate there several times.
Yeah, it's real
back then.
nice. You could kind of get away from like the Earls was always kind of a bit louder and you
Yeah.
know. Anyways,
Ah, it's too bad. That was always kind of
It is
like a
too bad.
nice restaurant you could afford a little easier than
Yeah.
some of the other nice restaurants.
yeah, you're probably 15% cheaper than Earls
Yeah.
and like Joey's.
Yep.
All right. So should we talk about this crazy celebrity news? This just is kind of heartbreaking.
It's such a bummer.
Friend of the I shouldn't know if I should even say that, but some of the Joe Rogan Experience people were really close with Chris D'Elia, and Chris D'Elia accused at least of like prepping underage girls to molest them later.
Well, sending them
presumably.
messages. Now, there's a bunch of stuff on this.
What do you know?
Well, first of all, it came out this girl Simone something or other on Instagram that he had been basically DMing her since she was 16.
Okay.
As far as I know, they never actually met up. Nothing ever actually happened. I mean, for anyone with a daughter, that's whatever. You're
Yeah.
messaging my 16-year-old daughter.
Yeah, fuck you.
The main thing is, and a lot of the talk has been like the power, right, that you have over a fan, and especially a teenage fan. And some people are like, over here in this state, it's 16. Over here, it's 7. Fuck all you guys. It's 18. in my world, that girl needs to be 18.
Sure. I mean, even 18.
Yeah.
If you have power over someone and you're using that to your advantage, fuck you.
Well, that's the same as like a university professor and even a 22-year-old student. Him using his power over her there, right?
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure is against the law anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or some rules, or whatever.
But could there ever, I don't know, like, could there ever be a situation where a man meets a 16-year-old fan and they like do have some kind of connection and like don't ever hook up or whatever, but get to know each other and they fall in love with each other, legitimately love, and then hook up later? Like,
no, I think for sure. To say that a 16-year-old can't fall in love, that's not true.
I was absolutely.
I was a 16-year-old in love.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not maybe the same love that you develop as an older, more mature person, but who's to say it's less pure?
Yeah,
I'm more jaded now. I was a more pure person probably as a younger person.
Yeah, and it's certainly, it feels like it's the strongest thing you ever felt when you're 16. But after you've spent 10 years with someone, you're like, okay, now you know what, like a deep
it's
connection.
Different. It's deeper. It's it's way more lasting. But to say it's stronger,
it seems stronger when
you're
16,
that young.
for sure.
Everything's so fucking huge.
Yeah,
you know. And to have this celebrity fucking even talking to you.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's.
You're going to forget about all the rules.
Yeah.
So
nothing happened with this girl?
No, just a lot of talk. There's a lot, but apparently there's like 3 or 4 other girls, or even more, like a bunch of girls.
Okay, a bunch of all underage girls.
But here's the thing about Chris D'Elia. He's always been a womanizer. It's never been a secret.
Okay.
He's like kind of like a Dane Cookish type comedian, right?
Sure.
Girls find him
good
hot.
looking guy.
There's a lot of shit going around about him. So he's answering DMs from girls randomly, right?
Right.
And sometimes maybe not checking that carefully.
Mm.
No, that's irresponsible, obviously.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff's pretty old too. Like I think all of it's pretty old because I know he's got a kid, like recently had a kid, and he's pretty serious with the girl he's with.
Well, shit. You hate to hear that, obviously.
No, obviously.
I don't know.
So
if he
horrible,
is
man.
doing things that are, nefarious, then I think he should pay the price for it. If it's accidental, and certainly if all he's ever done is just talk to these girls and he hasn't actually like molested anyone, then I don't know, that he deserves some leeway there, I think.
Yeah.
And if he fell in love with a girl who was younger, but it was like legit and true love, like I don't know, that's something where I'm like hard to.
I'm fresh off watching that Epstein talk on Netflix too,
okay.
man. Like,
I heard that's pretty hard.
Sitting hard with me.
Hard watch.
Yeah. So
it's crazy.
He hasn't really come out with anything to disprove anything either. It's been 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's been 2 weeks. Actually, I think just the other day he did come out, maybe yesterday, with some like emails showing longer forms of the conversations that were had, where eventually he asks how old the girl is. And when she says she's not whatever age, he says, okay, bye. I thought you were this old because I thought you were at my show, which you have to be 18 to get into.
Yeah.
So, but that's one of the bunch of the allegations, and he really hasn't spoken hardly at all. There hasn't been a podcast from him in 2 weeks now. It's like,
was he podcasting they were just
once
getting
a
the
week.
10-minute pod going again, weren't they?
No. Yeah, they were. But he does congratulations podcasts. He's been doing it for like 3 years now.
Right.
I listened to that one.
Yeah.
No, this sucks for me and for all his fans and for his friends especially, man. Like,
yeah, I liked him.
And his family.
The crazy thing is that he was in a TV show where he played a scumbag character who's like setting up young girls and to molest them.
It seems like it's too fucking on the nose, isn't it?
Right. It's exactly on the nose.
God damn.
Yeah.
What movie are we in? Like,
I don't know.
2020 is weird, man.
2020 sucks.
Started with Kobe dying.
Yeah.
Right into COVID.
Remember all the celebrity deaths in 2019, and we're like, "Oh my God, 2019!
We need to wipe this 2019 away and
how
start
could you take
fresh.
everyone from us?" And then we're like, "Oh shit!" That was.
I think 2020's got a higher death count.
Oh yeah, for absolute sure.
Oh man.
All right. Well,
yeah, I don't know what to say about that one. I hope something comes out that disproves it, but after everything that's been out and the silence, a lot of his friends are already kind of showing they believe it. Like, if there's a bunch of different podcasts where guys are kind of showing how heartbroken they are. They're like looking at it as though their friend died.
Yeah.
Which kind of happens when your friend does something like that, right?
Yeah, that is absolutely brutal. And Danny Masterson of the
Oh,
70s
man.
show, Hyde, also accused of like raping,
Multiple women.
3 women, I think was the story I read.
Yeah.
And, using power or like intimidation or fear or actual force. Like, it's kind of a combination of those things to get with these girls.
Yeah.
And that sucks. He always seemed like kind of a good dude to me.
Well, and
not
the
like I
reason-
ever knew him, but
Even creepier, the reason he has been getting away with it is because Scientology has been hiding his tracks.
yeah,
Because they
sucks.
want their celebrities, right? They protect their celebrities.
Totally. Yeah. That is bullshit. That
So crazy
Scientology
to me.
religion needs to go.
Yeah, like when is it enough?
Although I do love Tom Cruise getting his giant fucking medal
Yeah.
and
Who's still going in on
It's
this?
so funny.
Who's still signing up for Scientology now?
I don't know.
It's been outed.
They're like the richest religion though. Like they own so much property in LA. They're like trillionaire
Yeah. But
religion.
they've been so outed. The very last book that only the specialist people get to see.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, 100%.
It's straight up bullshit.
Xenu and fucking
Yeah.
ridiculousness.
It's not even
Aliens.
good science fiction.
No, it's bad science fiction.
Ah,
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on those happenings. Hopefully, it comes out that it's all a misunderstanding. That's
yeah,
my
it's-
goal.
Yeah.
So tell me about this student that was stomped in Kelowna.
Okay, so there was a student, an Asian Canadian lady, I guess is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
All right.
You can
so-
say that.
Yeah. She was committing suicide or attempting suicide,
No.
and a call was put out. And apparently this evening, and this just came out today, the mental health unit was not on that night. I mean, what?
What do you mean? Yeah.
How's it not
You
on?
can't not. You have
That
different
was the-
people
literally the
rotating
news
through
today.
shifts.
But anyways,
That's ridiculous.
rather than a mental health unit, police were sent.
Okay.
Apparently this female cop kind of like abused her, beat her up a little bit in her room after finding her half dead,
Wow.
handcuffed her behind her back, and hyperextended both her arms, dragging her down the hallway the opposite way your arms go
Oh yeah. Yeah.
through the hallway. It's all on camera.
Wow.
The video is horrific to watch. It's 5 minutes. Of
What
this-
had she done to try to kill? She had like taken a bunch of drugs or something.
she had tried once before because she was talking. I think it was drugs this time, yeah.
Yeah.
But the time before, she had cut herself.
Ugh.
Yeah, and
Man, that sucks. People in a
but the worst part of it shows her being drugged right out into the hallway, like the lobby of where this dorm or whatever it is.
yeah.
There's students walking by. The girl's crying out for help. Please help me. Somebody help me. Every student's blind eye.
Yeah. It's police.
What do you
man.
do when it's the cops? I'll tell you
Yeah.
what I do. It's not walk away, man. I get in trouble too, probably.
take a phone out, start recording
Something.
for sure.
Something.
That's my go-to would be to pull a phone out and start recording.
So this
Maybe-
happened back in January. So
Wow.
so
long
this is
time ago.
before all this, outcry.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's getting some heat now.
but late
know-
in the video, it shows her actually, the girl's kind of trying to lift her head up, and the officer stomps her head down onto the
Wow.
fucking, ceramic tile floor
That's brutal.
here
Well,
in Canada, in BC.
Hopefully
Kelowna.
there's some justice and that, like the Rogan that I wanted to talk about, Brett Weinstein, Jocko Willink, they both, even Bill Burr, I think they mentioned as well. Those are my favorite episodes.
Mhm.
We're technically, we didn't even talk about which Rogan we're going to talk about. I'm not very good at delivering the table of contents because I'm realizing now that we just started talking about these things.
We can-
But anyways, my favorite Rogan conversations, they were talking obviously about what to do about police, and I totally agree. Defunding is not the answer.
No.
They need more funding. They need more and better training. But I kind of do agree with some of the defunding. Like in this case, maybe police don't need to be sent for all of the things that the police are being sent for.
Yeah.
And I'm also in favor of let's have a totally separate organization that handles traffic, tickets and whatnot.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a division of the police, or maybe it's a division of the army or something like that. I don't know. But I think one of the big problems is that most people's interactions with police is when they're getting a ticket. So they just have a bad taste in their mouth with police.
Yeah.
And then of course we see these videos, even if it is a very, very, very tiny percentage of the actual interactions, these interactions are happening. And when they do happen, one thing like Joe and everyone said is that there needs to be action taken immediately, and there needs to be effective action, like actual real consequences, so that we weed out these fucking terrible, terrible people.
Did you see the Schilling episode? The Joe Schilling one? Just came out
No, I
2 days ago?
haven't watched that
Well,
one yet.
he's been, I mean,
He's
basically
posting all
forgotten
kinds
about
of-
fighting. He's all about
Right.
the police brutality.
Yeah, I remember Joe saying that he was posting and sharing a lot of the videos on his Instagram.
Yeah. It's tough because, you know what? As soon as you start looking for them, it's an endless supply. It's like porn.
Yeah,
There's as many police beating videos as there is porn on.
totally, totally.
It's there.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. There's also videos of police being shot, like police walking. The problem with making it not police doing these traffic stops is that doing a traffic stop can lead to other, like you see there's a tied up underage girl in the trunk. If it's not a police officer, who's going to deal with that?
Right.
You know, sometimes police need to deal with things that come up where maybe they shouldn't be sent to deal with a suicide victim. But what if that suicide victim was going to shoot themselves and then has a gun and starts shooting
That's right.
people around them? The police need to be there to protect not only we don't want them killing criminals, but the police need to protect the rest of the citizens in the area. So it's a fucking complex.
It's tough to put it on the cops, man. And like we've heard over and over, what do you expect from them? All they see is murder, death, rape.
Yeah,
Fucking,
of course.
you know.
Yeah, that's going to have its effect. And some people are going to be able to deal with it. Like probably mandatory counseling should be a one factor. Maybe 20% of their time is spent training, and then maybe 10% of their time is spent just like decompressing and talking to counselors and psychologists and whatnot, people that can help them to process these feelings. And then the people that can maybe make some educated guesses, okay, like, you know, maybe you're not really fit to do this right now. You need to take 6 months off.
Yeah.
And, you know, just go decompress.
I think everyone's so quick to point the finger at the cops too. Like, this is society. This is not cops.
Yeah, no.
This is the world at large.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, and
But seeing all these things means that we need way, way, way more funding for police and more funding for whatever. If we're going to restructure things and get like trained psychologists that go out and deal with mental health problems, awesome, great.
Yeah.
But we need more funding then for the police and for
just
that.
a redirection of the funding. I
Yeah,
think. Less tanks, more psychologists.
I don't know. Yeah,
For sure, less tanks.
for sure, less tanks.
What war are we fighting in America here?
I don't know.
You know, are they fighting in America? But it's not that different up here either. Like, we have crazy shit like that.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, of course we have helicopters and that's useful. But yeah, I don't think we're facing the level of corruption but there's still corruption. You can have stories of Edmonton cops for days. I've heard plenty of pretty fucked up stories.
Yeah, no, I have as well. There was just a post that I was reading where it was from, I think it was from the chief of police in Edmonton. He wrote a big, long, and some of it sounds like, hey, you're getting a little too defensive here. You know, he's talking about, hey, here's the actual numbers of complaints versus numbers of interactions, and it's 99.8% interactions that don't lead to complaints. And, you know, so some of it kind of seems like, hey, you're not taking responsibility for the shitty actions. But also we have to realize, yes, most of the people's interactions, whether they're officially complained on or not, I don't know. It's hard for me to judge.
The people that, to me, that are being fucked with by cops are not likely to call more cops to complain about how those other cops fucked with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're the enemy. They're not calling the enemy to tell on the enemy.
No.
To a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's so complex.
it's such a tough problem.
And it is a very hard problem. I hope we can get through it and make it better.
And I feel like our racism here in Canada is maybe not so much geared towards black people as and probably it is in Toronto and bigger cities, but
Right.
around here it's definitely geared towards Native people.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It is. And yeah, I don't know how we deal with that. I wish I did. I wish I had good ideas for how to change the world.
But again, we're moving towards it. It's slow. I think
true.
that the world's as shitty as it seems, it's still better.
Yep.
It's still better.
The racism now
We're still getting better.
is overall less than it was.
Well, and all this
10
is
years
going to
ago.
bring so much attention. It's going to change everything. 2020 is going to change a lot of things.
Yeah,
This is going to be a historic year. It is a historic year. It already has been.
absolutely.
So.
My mom was reading this book. I think it was called White Woman's Tears or something like that. And it's all about how white women have not been allies to women of color and all the ways in which white women will use their privilege to, to gain advantages over women of color. And it's like, pretty angering.
Yeah.
Some of it intentional, and some of it probably just not even realizing. And that's the world we live in, Shane.
It's a tough one.
But 1486, Honey Honey, back together.
Oh, that was sweet.
That was a great episode. It was like 5 hours long. They played music, which was really nice.
Yeah.
I played a little clip for my girlfriend when she's pulling out her bow and getting ready to play the fiddle. He's like, oh, and Rogan's like, oh man, that's awesome. You got that fucking the wand.
That was sweet.
Yeah, and they're like, oh my god, we're calling it a wand from now on. Yeah, the fiddle wand.
Yeah.
Which of course it's called a bow.
Yeah,
and he should know that.
I might have called it a wand too. Actually.
Yeah. Anyone who's a bow hunter and doesn't know that the fiddle is played with a bow, I don't know.
There's too many things called a bow.
Yeah.
There's the bow, and then there's the bow, like Donatello.
The staff. Bow staff.
Yeah.
There's also the front of the boat. Although it's referred to as the bow, but it's spelled B-O-W.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
bow,
okay.
Bow
yeah,
in the stern.
Oh, and then there's bow.
Port and starboard.
Bow down to somebody.
Yeah, bowing.
English is crazy.
It is. All spelled the same.
Yeah. So, Honey Honey.
Yeah.
It was great to hear them again live.
It was. I was kind of curious what the big fight was about that made them break up and not play together for a year or however long it was.
I feel like it's a lovers thing between them.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've definitely always felt like there was a bit of a weird tension between those
Some
two.
sexual tension.
Yeah.
But they're not dating and not lovers.
Haven't they never been?
I don't think so.
Okay. Not that I'm wrong. That's not the first time that's ever happened.
No, I think it was something like creative differences, He wanted to play songs one way, she wanted to play songs her way, and I don't know. Maybe she wanted to do different songs than him. Having been in a band, I know the creative, like it requires compromise because a lot of times someone will want to make a decision about how a song should go, and I won't feel strongly about it. I'll be like, okay, yeah, let's change it. Let's do it that way.
Yeah.
And I won't really care. And then a lot of times I'll want to make changes, and the people in the band will be like, oh, awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it that way. They don't really care. But sometimes we both really care, and we both want to make changes, and we want to make different changes. And like, it's really hard, especially you kind of default, I guess, to the person who wrote the song as having the creative control over it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're collaborating, and it's kind of hard. Like, I might bring an idea to the band, and like, here's the maybe a verse and an idea for a chorus, and then we kind of write it together, and so other people will feel ownership over it, even though it was it started out as my idea, but now once we've collaborated on it, like everyone sort of contributed, and then if they wanted to, it's so hard to deal with that, and people wanting to make changes, and everyone having to agree with how something should be played, how money should be spent, what gigs should be taken and what gigs shouldn't be taken, where, it really, the musically creative differences is one aspect, but then there's also all the other business side of it that is just a pain in the dick.
Yeah.
I think it was Willie Nelson who said, like, I play for free, but they pay me to travel. And
oh yeah.
Yeah. It's
That's
like,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So what else, Shane?
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr was awesome. That guy can rant. My favorite rants of everyone, and that was a really, really entertaining.
And he's firmly on the mask wearing, side of things.
Yeah, and I am not so firmly on the mask side.
No. But around here, like, and actually, now you say that, I think pretty sure Edmonton's the spiking place in Alberta right now.
Yeah, but still not like Calgary. I was looking at this. It was like a graphic where it was showing the cases by day, and Calgary had like 2,000 cases or something ridiculous. Like, and then they brought their cases down, and Edmonton outnumbers them now. Edmonton's cases when Calgary was at 2,000, Edmonton was at like 30. And now I think Edmonton, what is the latest? 300?
300 something,
yeah.
73.
So,
I think was,
we're up to 300, which is, what is that? 1,000% increase from 30.
Yeah.
But it's still nowhere near the like thousands that Calgary had. And Calgary has good on Calgary. They brought their cases down. So now Calgary is at like 150 or 200, and they're less than Edmonton. But it's not like Edmonton is anywhere near where Calgary was a month ago.
And it's
And
even still
nowhere near where Florida is.
how many fucking people are
9,000
here? 1 million?
in
And
this.
there's 300 some cases?
Yeah, it's not.
That's not
It's not bad.
significant at
No.
all.
Edmonton's a pretty good spot to be COVID wise.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, everyone can get a test now. That's one thing. They're doing
Yeah.
tests for anyone that wants one. And I'm thinking about going and get, because I'm curious if I have the antibodies. They just started doing the antibody test in Canada, and I got super, super sick in like January or February at some point.
Yeah.
Worst cold I ever had.
Yeah.
Bad,
Me too, at the
bad
start of
cough.
this thing. In
Yeah,
fact,
I remember.
took time off like I had COVID.
But did you get tested?
No.
You never got
They
tested.
wouldn't
You
test me back then.
You just self-isolated.
Stacy called, and one day I was really sick. One day I was acting loopy. I was falling asleep all over the house. And she called, and they said, yeah, he sounds really sick. Take him to the hospital. and she's like, well, can we get him tested? And they're like, not at this time.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Well, I guess. And then there's people that aren't sick at all. You'd think that they would want to test the sick people.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You kind of, to get like an accurate percentages, you need to test every single person. I don't know.
I wonder how bad it would have been if we all just like went out and had like COVID parties and like tried to get it and just get it over with.
Well, it would have been terrible.
It would have
We
been taught.
We would have overwhelmed. Yeah, we would have overwhelmed the hospitals, and people that needed like care in the hospital wouldn't have been able to get that care, and they would have died.
Yeah.
That's what happened in Italy.
Well, that's what they said. Yeah.
And that's what
they said, yeah.
I'm sure that's what happened in New York. That's what would have happened if we would have not done anything. I think, taking the drastic measures that we took was really good, and I think it had a big impact, and we're reaping the benefit of that.
Yeah, I mean that's what the numbers seem to show, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about the relaunch strategies though that we have here. Like,
Seems a little loose. People aren't.
from 1 minute to the next, it's different.
It is, and people are not taking it like the 2 meter distancing. From what I've seen out in the world, not a thing at all.
I don't think people know what that
It
is.
just looks like normal before pre-COVID times out there. Yeah,
I wish I had a measuring tape on me sometimes. Just to be like,
yeah,
you shouldn't be any closer than this to me.
yeah. Some kind of like big 2 meter circle that you can wear around yourself.
Yeah. I liked a good bubble around myself before COVID.
Yeah.
I don't
You
really
could get
like
like
to
an
be
actual
crowded.
bubble, like a hamster bubble or hamster ball.
That might be next. Everybody with their own ecosystem.
Maybe. How about Corey Capelloni running 218 miles, 300 plus kilometers to his grandma's house? He was a ultra marathon runner, and I just thought this was kind of a feel good story.
It's like that's one they slap at the end of the global news broadcast.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He ran I think it took him 7 days to get there. And it was from Washington, D.C. to his grandmother's home in Scranton, Pennsylvania, home of The Office, my favorite.
Oh yeah, Scranton was on The Office. That's right.
My favorite sitcom of all the sitcoms.
Was that a
I've ever
real
made.
building they're using?
It was, yeah.
So they actually were filming on location in Scranton?
Yeah, they absolutely did.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean, some of it I think was filmed in L.A. but I think most of it was filmed in Scranton.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a podcast now where Pam and Angela get not like they're Angela. I think her name in real life is Angela, but Pam's name is Jenna Fisher.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Office Ladies, and they go through episode by episode and talk about how they made them and what funny stories, and they have some guests on and stuff. It's pretty good.
Well, that's like the Sopranos one.
Yeah,
with Steve Sciarippa and
Absolutely.
Michael Imperioli.
yeah.
I haven't listened to it, but that would be kind of cool.
I haven't either, but I did listen to that episode of Rogan.
Yeah. That Michael Imperioli is in a pretty cool show on Netflix called Mad Dogs.
Oh yeah,
You should check out. It's pretty
Cool.
goddamn cool. It's not like a gangster show. It's like a cerebral. It's fucking cool.
all right. I'll
Yeah.
check it out.
Yeah.
I'm in. So yeah. Anyways, that was kind of a nice thing that happened.
Yeah.
Fight night. Should we get into UFC?
Yeah, we just watched a few good fights.
Yeah, we just watched the most recent fight night, Blades versus Volkov, and while the main event was a bit of a sleeper, but it was just a wrestle fest. Spoilers, Blades won the decision. Volkov looked like maybe he might eke it out in like the 4th or 5th round, but it was really mostly just Blades wrestling Volkov to the ground, but not really doing anything with him once he had him there. Holding him down for sure,
Yeah.
but not like, no, very minimal ground and pound. Volkov seemed fine at the end of the fight.
Chael right away came out and said there's no way he's getting a title match off that fight.
Yeah?
Blades from
Yeah.
that win. That's not what they're looking for title matches. You know,
I would tend to agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a snooze fest, but especially also because it was preceded by Emmett versus Burgos, which was like candidate for fight of the year. Just an amazing slugfest. Both of them super game, and it's 145 pounds, so it's not the same kind of. If you see heavyweights throwing like that, someone's knocked out. You can't throw like that when you're a heavyweight. You gas yourself out, or you knock a person out. Like there's
That's
no,
right.
one of those two things happens.
It was funny when that started. Sorry, Reubs.
No problem.
I was like, oh man, how fucking old is Emmett? Is he
Yeah.
still fighting?
Yeah,
And then he comes out and he's just this fucking dervish. He's crazy, man. He's like a Wolverine type. He's
yeah,
got that like low stance.
yeah.
Just
And
throws
the way he throws
bombs.
that like overhand right
Yeah.
was like really. It landed a bunch of times and stumbled Burgos a few times,
For
but
sure.
Burgos never went unconscious.
And
So,
he's slick too, man. I like his style a lot too. He's got
Yeah.
this like
he's
rangy,
tall, kind of like.
got his head way out there in front. That's a great fight.
Yeah, absolutely, it was.
Yeah.
And then the other one, well, we watched two other ones. The one before Emmett was, who are those guys? I'm
Shit.
spacing on the name of it.
What the hell?
All right, I'll just pause this. Right, of course, it was Bilal Muhammad and
Oh.
Lyman Good.
Of course it
I
was.
don't know how we
Yes.
were spacing on those
That
names.
was a great fight.
That
too.
was a great fight. Yeah. Yeah, really close decisions, both of those. It was like, oh man, you kind of make the argument either way, but then at the end, you're like, okay, no, it was, I don't think, they weren't bad decisions by any stretch. They were
No.
good decisions, but like, they were both razor close.
That's the first time I've seen that Lance Good fight, I think.
Yeah?
Maybe it's not, but I don't remember him at all.
Lyman Good?
Is his name Lyman? I thought they were saying Landon.
No, Lyman.
Oh, okay. Lyman.
Lyman.
Crazy. Where's he from? Does it say?
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Let me click on his picture. So, Lyman Good, he is... Cyborg is his nickname.
Yeah.
It doesn't really show where he's from. As American Cyborg, I guess he's from the States. Harlem, New York.
I think they mixed lemon and lime.
35 years
His
old.
name.
I don't know.
Lyman's a strange one. I don't think I've ever heard that name.
He was the inaugural Bellator welterweight champion,
Mm.
and now he's fighting a weight class up at 185.
Well, that's why he looks so fucking good, I guess.
Yeah, he looks super ripped, eh?
He was not ranked, I don't think. Was he?
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, so ripped.
Yeah, very
Fucking you saw
well
it. Fell asleep
conditioned.
this night. Jesus.
Maybe.
This guy looks like Vitor.
Yeah, so close that. Back up on that. And then the other fight we watched was Marc-Andre Barrio, Canadian, who was able to win Piechota. What's his first name? Polish guy.
I just kept hearing Piechota.
Yeah, his name is Oscar Piechota.
Oh. That's not what I expected.
No?
At all.
Oskar.
Okay. That's a little
Oscar.
different.
Oscar
Piechota.
Is that offensive?
I don't think so.
Is that even Polish sounding?
I think I think you can still say whatever you want about white people.
yeah,
these days.
any white person is fair
Yeah.
game. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I think so.
Yeah, seems about right. So 251, that was the last big main event.
Oh, 250 with Nunes?
250 and 251 is coming up.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, obviously Nunes, I was kind of cheering for her. She fought a Canadian girl, and I was like, oh, maybe this could be. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Nunes was heavily favored, and did win.
I mean, obviously the best woman fighter of all time.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, pretty obviously.
I mean, she already was.
Yeah.
I think once she beat Cyborg, that title was pretty clearly hers.
Yeah. I wonder how much longer she's going to fight for.
I don't think she needs to at all anymore.
She doesn't need to, but
Well, who knows what money she's made.
she didn't talk about retiring. Probably not the most money, hey? Probably less than Ronda, I would bet. Because Ronda was so, like, engaging and, like, sold way more pay-per-views, I assume.
I wouldn't call her a superstar yet.
No.
I mean, what else
Should
she's got
be.
to do, I don't know. But
Yeah, she definitely should
to
be.
mainstream fans, they're not necessarily going to know. Or not mainstream fans, but mainstream people, you know?
Yeah. You know what was the cool fight on that one is the Cody Garbrandt Rafael Ascuncao? I don't know how you say that.
Assunção.
That's a tough one. I knew I was going to fuck it up. But that was a great fight. Garbrandt looked awesome. And
Got to win.
he's a little firecracker there, that Garbrandt. That's 135, right? Bantamweight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to win. It was a knockout win to boot in round 2.
That's great.
Yeah. So...
Yeah. And Sugar Sean fought that night, too,
Yeah.
I heard, and was spectacular.
Absolutely. That was a great fight, too.
Yeah.
A knockout win, round 1.
Yeah.
Love that guy. And he's also 135.
Yeah.
That's...
He's a fella that's building to be a star, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 2 knockouts in the 135-pound division.
I like that they're building him slow, too. Like, what they did with Yair Rodriguez, you remember, he was coming up huge.
Yeah.
And then they threw him to Edgar, and Edgar just destroyed him, and we didn't really see him for 2 years.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my phone, Shane.
Yeah.
I should really... I don't know. I feel like... Should we even talk about UFC? Rogan is so much better at it than we are. Like,
Yeah, you're
I
not
love-
getting any hot take from
yeah,
us.
I love watching it and whatnot. I do enjoy it. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
I don't often have anything new to say other than I'm just going to be parroting things that I've heard other people say.
Sometimes I think that when we've just watched it and we saw an incredible, and we can like show our excitement for the fight.
Maybe. Maybe that's worthwhile.
Our enthusiasm.
Reading things...
It's a little weird to cover him 2 weeks later, though.
Yeah.
when
it
you
is a
no
little weird.
longer really care that much.
I don't know. I don't know my thoughts on this. I'm going to have to...
Yeah, it's
Where this podcast goes, who knows? Listeners, please get at us. Tell us what you think, things you want to hear, things you like or don't like about the show, and we're open to that. We'll, if you have some harsh criticism, it'll hurt our feelings, but maybe it'll make the show better.
not me. I don't have any.
Oh, okay, Shane, not Shane, me though for sure. But if you say nice things to us, that'll also be cool. I don't know.
Again, I don't have any feelings, but tell him to Reubs anyway.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's it then. I really don't have anything else to say. You got to get a bus here.
Yeah, it's
About that
it's a little later here on a Friday night. So
Yeah. And so thank you so much, everyone. And we'll look forward to talking with you again in the next week or 2.
yeah, you betcha. Okay.
Hey there, Joe Rogan, super fan. This podcast is for you, my man. Or woman, or non-binary. Our recaps will be legendary. The Rogan Report Podcast. Come on, you'll have a blast at the Rogan Report Podcast.